Welcome back, everyone, and we'll turn our focus now to an NFC East team, the New York Giants. And the Giants making three big signings here the first day of free agency. And all signings were at need positions for them coming into the offseason. First, we'll look at the interior of the offensive line with the signing of Geoff Schwartz, the guard formerly of the Kansas City Chiefs. Schwartz, 6'6", 340 pounds, okay, one of the better interior linemen available here during free agency. He'll solidify one guard spot. You have Chris Snee coming back for one more season at the other guard spot. They'll upgrade, obviously, the center position after David Boss has been a nightmare since acquired via free agency a couple years ago. So they'll upgrade the center spot. It's being presumed with either Brian De La Puente or Evan Dietrich Smith. Either would be a solid addition and certainly an upgrade again on David Boss. And then the thinking is you have Justin Pugh at right tackle and Will Beatty eventually coming back at left tackle off of that broken leg. They'll probably patch together the two tackle spots until that happens, but they get Schwartz, they solidify that area. Now let's move to the running back position. Look, who knows what's going to go on with David Wilson and his neck. The Giants made a minor move and brought back Peyton Hillis, but the big move they made today at the running back spot was bringing in Rashad Jennings. Look, Rashad Jennings averaged 4.5 yards a carry last year, 733 yards, okay, only started 8 games for the Raiders, had a very good game, as a matter of fact, against the Giants at the Meadowlands. Okay, so you get a guy in Jennings, a little bit of a late bloomer, 29 years old, spent the first part of his career with Jacksonville. Last year was the first year he rushed for over 460 yards in a season. So you have him at 733 rushing yards last year, had 35 receptions out of the backfield, and was a guy that ran hard for the Raiders, and I think gives new offensive coordinator Ben McAdoo the kind of running back he's looking for. A guy who can be a tough physical runner, but also a guy that can be a factor in the passing game, catching balls out of the backfield. And I think you get both of those in Rashad Jennings. I think at the very least, he could be the 1A part of a two-back tandem. And I think he's the guy that can really shoulder the load if you need him to. If you need him to carry the ball 20, 25 times in a game, I think he's a guy who can do that and do it successfully. Although he's 29, not a lot of tread on the tires, again, because of some lesser production earlier in his career. I really like Rashad Jennings. I thought the Raiders should have made more of an effort to keep him. Instead, they give Darren McFadden a one-year deal. But I love the signing of Jennings. I like the signing of Schwartz. And the last signing to make note of is on the defensive side of the ball for the Giants. They signed O'Brien Schofield. Schofield spent the first part of his career with Arizona, last year with Seattle. He played in 15 games for the Seahawks. Not overly productive, but again, a guy who's a younger guy, still in the prime of his career, has played mostly a backup role both in Arizona and in Seattle. They give him a 2-year, $8 million contract, presumably to take the spot of outside linebacker Keith Rivers, looking to get younger at that position. You know, the signing of Schofield is a little bit different than the signing of Jennings and Schwartz. You're projecting Schofield to be a starting caliber player, taking a little bit of a risk. But look, if he turns out to be a quality starting linebacker, 2 years, $8 million will look like a bargain mid-season if Schofield's playing well. So we'll see what happens with the signing of Schofield, how that plays out. But at the very least, they get a 1A option at running back. Look, Jennings isn't the best running back in the world, but I think he fits what the Giants want to do pretty well. And they didn't have to overspend on him. And lastly, Schwartz. I think he's going to go a long way to solidify the interior of that line. And once they get a center, like I mentioned, I think the Giants will be in a lot better situation with that offensive line and thus give Eli Manning more time to throw and have a better season, certainly than he did in probably his worst season as a pro in 2013. Guys, that's a rundown on the Giants signings for this year. For today, I should say. Hit me up in the comments. Hit me up on Twitter as well. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, guys. It's completely free. I've uploaded about 12 or 13 videos today updating all the signings here. So be sure to check those out. Be sure to subscribe and have a great night.